My buddy Gavin McInnes is with me out here. As you know, he speaks French and has an inquiring mind and is not politically correct, and he makes friends easily. What a great traveling companion. Anyways, so yesterday, after we were finished filming for the day, Gavin had set up a dinner with some young journalists, really the opinion elite TV journalists for a leading news agency. They were smart, they were well educated, they were perfect Frenchmen, so fashionable. Anyways, I arrived a little bit late, and I was listening to them talk with Gavin, and it was really interesting, and it was fun watching them spar a bit. Gavin is a conservative like me, and he's a bit of a troublemaker. And like me, he sensed that France was sad about the terrorist attacks, but not angry. He wasn't fighting back. Well, these two journalists both got passionate at this barb. One said it was the most offensive thing they had heard since the terrorist attack itself, and they started making their case. I thought it was interesting, so I asked if I could take out my camera and film them right there at the dinner table in the bistro. They said okay. They were skeptical at first. One of them said he wouldn't say anything on camera, but later he just couldn't help himself. Anyways, please forgive the wobbly camera. I was holding it with one hand, not a tripod. Please forgive the low light levels. It would have been weird to put on a Klieg light at a bar to talk things over dinner. We've boiled this conversation down a lot, but I just want to give you a flavor of where the opinion elites in France are. Here, take a look.
Well, religion is always a way to justify evil deeds and rightful deeds. You know, it happens in every religion, and I think if you're a violent person, you always end up violent, and you'll use religion to justify it, and it is true for nice people. The Mexican cartels in Ciudad Juarez kill way more people in just one city than the whole Islamic State in the whole country, and they call themselves Christians. So,
you know, you're always gonna have nutcases everywhere. Right wing, left wing, Muslim, Christian, Jewish. Not take this event as justification to be angry at all French Muslims.
You have millions of Muslims in France, a portion of whom are becoming radicalized.
Yeah, very tiny. It's not even a portion. It's just dozens, maybe, not even 5,000. There are only a very small portion who will do evil deeds.
It's an issue with a tiny fraction of Muslims that represent something roughly 0.005% of Muslim. And that's the problem we had in France, or we have in France, is like for a long time the government was not even acknowledging a Muslim religion, so all the mosques had to basically find financing in other countries. So now you have like influence from other countries, some of them radical.
So it's completely silly to say that the Koran is violent and thus the Muslims are violent. There is definitely a huge rage, but I think it's expressed in a very peaceful way, and it is disguised in the flowers and the candles that we light up for the victims. I do not think that France is at war. I mean, it's a way of saying, yeah, in a way we are at war with terrorism, but it's not a war in the sense that we're not fighting a very definite enemy. I mean, you can't say we're at war because 8 nutheads just shot up random people on the street.
What is it then? Is it crime?
In a way, yeah, it's international organized crime.
I think everybody's agree, like a lot of people agree in the US that the response post-September 11 was a mess. And I think we should not make the same mistake.
Well, we can ask the same question about the US. What is the US doing against the Islamic State, and what will the US look like?
Right now, what we're living here is just a result of what's going on in Syria, and it's the result of foreign policy from my country, from the US, from the UK. It's a result of the failure to stabilize this region. What do you expect? You're gonna have 100,000 people killed in Syria, and it's not gonna get contagious? Look at all the shootings you have in the US, and it's not Muslim people. It's just American people who go nuts and do mass shooting. How we fight it? By here in France,
Sure.
Okay, by having better school in the suburbs, by having just
them with jobs in the first place.
with jobs, by making sure that Islam, radical Islam, is not the only place where those guys feel that they're worth something. If they were worth something in French society, maybe they would not do that, you know. So I think it's there's a clear responsibility of the way our society works.
So that was the opinion elite, the people who shape the news and therefore shape the views in France. Islam is not responsible for anything. France is racist against Muslims. It's hate speech to say the Koran is warlike. And anyways, it's all America's fault. It's hard to believe such masters of excuseology and appeasement come from the country of Napoleon.